So we know what Josh Allen did against the Lions yesterday. We talked about it ad nauseum. But what we didn't talk about was Lamar.
So it's nauseum when it's Josh Allen, but it is so pleasant when it's Lamar.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And Lamar, and it was the Giants, and I'm not trying to no world beaters, but that's what you do to bad teams.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
That's what I like seeing from Lamar.
And they scored 35 points. They beat the Giants. I think it was 35-14. Probably the most impressive thing is that he had more touchdowns than incomplete passes.
21 of 25, 5 touchdown passes.
And 4 incompletions.
That's crazy.
4. He also rushed for like almost 70 yards. You know, like it was just a masterpiece. And that's what Lamar does. And here's the thing, and I get the Josh Allen sentiment, and I'm not saying he's not playing well. But there are some numbers involved. And here's the other thing, too. I think people are just premature because last year, people thought that Brock Purdy was the MVP going into that Christmas night game.
He was right there.
He was right there. And had he had a big night, he probably would have won it. He did. Okay, if they would have beaten the Ravens at home and he had a great night. Instead, Lamar had an awesome night, and Brock Purdy had 4 interceptions, could have been 6. Remember, Rob G, you saw that, right? Didn't they drop like 2 of them? He could have had 6 interceptions in that night, and that was it. And Lamar wound up winning the MVP. And there's still 3 games to go. But the numbers, and you heard me mention them a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
They have had a game together, and Lamar beat Josh Allen and the Bills. Lamar, 68% completion to 64 for Josh Allen. Passing yards, over 3,500. Josh Allen over 3,300. And then I'm just going to go. Lamar leads in yards per attempt, yards per game. Passing touchdowns, 34-25. Lamar has 3 interceptions. Josh has 5. Quarterback rating, 120.7 to 103.5. Rushing attempts, Lamar has more. Rushing yards, 743 to 484. Big time.
Yep.
Yards per attempt, rushing, 6.4 to 5.3. Now, Josh leads with 11 rushing touchdowns to Lamar's 3. We talked about it, and I'm not knocking Josh for this.
He's just a bigger quarterback.
And they have Derrick Henry at the goal line.
They hand the ball to Derrick Henry, and he's obviously a bigger quarterback.
And that saves Lamar as well, like not being hurt down to goal line and all that, and he's a thinner guy. And then, so those are all the numbers up there. And my point is, I don't believe that the race is over. When you look at what Lamar did in his numbers last year and that he won it with those numbers, how in the world as a voter can you look at Lamar this year and think, dude, he won the MVP last year, right? Almost unanimous. Only one person didn't vote for him, first ballot. And this year he's way better. Not better. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. No,
way better than last year.
Josh Allen has – let me work backwards. Lamar Jackson is the best player in the NFL, in my opinion. I believe you would echo the same sentiment. Been saying it all year.
Yeah, I really do. When I watch him, he's different.
But I'm going to tell you the issue, the challenge for him. And I think this happens in time to time in sports. One, just fatigue. And I know you don't agree, but just hear me out. One is fatigue.
Only reason I can't get
I know
with
it's
that
Brett Favre, and I get what you when he won 3.
3 in a row.
But Brett Favre wasn't dealing with Josh Allen having this type of season. That's just when he keeps setting new records. We never had a quarterback 3 touchdowns, 3 passes in a game. He keeps doing amazing things. Back-to-back 3 games in a row, 40-plus points. It's just absurd. But Lamar Jackson also, I think, so there's fatigue, just a little bit of fatigue. We're like, oh, yeah, he's won a couple. He's done this before, I think. And Josh Allen, people always feel like this happens in every sport. You go, it's his time, right? That happens. I think that's in favor of Josh Allen. The narrative, it's his time. Also, I think working not in his advantage for Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson is suffering a little bit from Tracy McGradyism, where it just looks easy. And sometimes when people see something so often and it just looks easy, you start to take it for granted a little bit. right? And Tracy McGrady, when he was in his prime, people would always say, "Oh, well, he just makes it look too easy. Oh, it looks like he isn't really trying." It's like
there was a season you thought Tracy McGrady was your MVP of the NBA?
No, I'm talking about Tracy McGrady is the skill set. You know what I'm talking about. People would always say, "Oh, he just makes it look," because Kobe was hard, right? It was hard jab step, up fade. You just saw it. You felt the passion. You saw his face. Tracy McGrady was always just smooth with it. And you're just like, well, that just seems too easy. Kevin Durant has that sometimes where you're just like, oh, he just scored the easiest 38 points I've ever seen. And sometimes people take away from you because you make it look easy. And then here's a real reason why Josh Allen's going to win it. Because the other number that matters you didn't mention, 3. He only has 3 losses. He's 11-3, and they're going to use against Lamar Jackson that he lost to the Browns, that he lost to the Raiders, and that he barely beat the Cowboys when they were up big and they came back. And I think that's going to come back to haunt him.
But when you say that, and your wording is perfect,
mm-hmm.
They were up big and they can't. How is that against Lamar?
Because I'm going to tell you why. This is me being real, Rob. Because people have to nit. It's like Jordan or LeBron. We got to start nitpicking, right? Kobe or LeBron. We got to start nitpicking. Josh or Lamar. We got to start nitpicking.
Okay,
they're
so
both,
let me ask you
spectacular. This. So now people have to find, well, I don't like that Josh Allen this, or I don't like that Lamar this, or Josh Allen doesn't have, blah, blah, blah. Josh Allen doesn't have a Derrick Henry in his backfield. Those are things that are going to work against Lamar Jackson.
The quarterback rating is such a difference. It's not 120.7 to 103. It's big.
Name Josh Allen's running back. They're going to say he's got a 1,400-yard horse behind him.
No, but that's why he has 11 rushing touchdowns. I get that.
Right. So I'm saying these are the nitpicky things.
If you watch
why Josh Allen's going to win.
Anybody who has never seen, go watch Lamar's 3 interceptions this year. He should have 0.
They weren't his.
Okay, it is.
I don't even care if he had 3.
No, I'm just
to only have 3 is crazy.
He got 34 touchdowns.
34 touchdowns, and then
passing,
and then only have 3 interceptions. It's crazy. The only persons who were able to do what he's doing right now at this point through 14 games, Peyton Manning did it some time ago, and Aaron Rodgers did it some time ago.
Never turned over the ball until now, not the end of his career.
And it's ridiculous what Lamar's doing. And again, I think this is the thing where people are going to have to start nitpicking in order to pick their MVP. Because legitimately, if you fail for Mars and I just didn't put a picture or name and I just showed you these stats, you say either one of those dudes could be the MVP. But now, when I tell you who they are and kind of, we got to pick one, then you're going to have to start nitpicking. And I think that Josh Allen leading a team with not a bunch of superstars and not a big-time back to an 11-3 record, the only team to beat the Chiefs, one of only 2 teams now to beat the Lions, I think those things are going to bode well in his favor. And last point, Rob G, moments matter. Josh Allen jumping through the air in the snow like the Jordan logo to get that touchdown matters. Him with that run against the Chief matters. He had these Heisman-esque MVP-type moments that we remember. This is what I mean. Lamar does it so regular, we take it for granted. Oh, yeah, Lamar had 5 touchdowns. Anyway, what y'all want to eat tonight? Like, no, that should be crazy.
If the numbers were closer, then I would buy into that. The numbers aren't close.
They're not that far off. What do you mean?
They're not. They're not that close. Well, go ahead, jump in, Rob G.
I was just going to say, Rob, you were on this network sitting in that exact chair about 50 feet away in 2021, making the exact same argument in reverse between Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Because in 2021, Tom Brady had more than 1,000 yards more passing than Aaron Rodgers. He had 6 more touchdown passes than Aaron Rodgers. The difference was,
what was it? What was the interceptions on those?
It was
I'm just curious.
12-4.
Okay, that's a big difference. Go ahead.
But Aaron Rodgers had moments. His team
was that the Lions moment?
It was
no. The
Arizona without Devontae Adams. Yep. Everyone had COVID. He had a game against the Lions that he had on Monday Night Football, and then there was a late game. I believe it was against Chicago, when he was basically perfect and he threw 4 touchdown passes.
Was that the one where he said, "I still own you"?
No, that was the next year.
Remember that?
I mean, he's owned them for such a long time. He said that a bunch of times.
He literally has owned them.
That was one of my favorites, though. Like,
I still own you.
I still own you.
And he wasn't lying. He owned the Lions for all the years too.
In that season, Aaron Rodgers' team had the better record, slightly, and his stats were inferior to Tom Brady. What he had was the
moments
Heisman
and
moments
the better record.
And the better record.
Okay. And that's exactly Josh Allen's sentiment right now.
But here's why I think that there's a chance that that's not going to play in. Because there are 3 games left. and I just brought it up to you last year, Rob G. Would you agree? Brock Purdy was people were thinking he was the MVP going into that Christmas night game against, right? Because Brock Purdy had better numbers. Correct.
But here's the issue for you though,
right?
With the Ravens, they got to play the Steelers?
Well, but those are my points.
You're saying that's to his advantage if he balls out. They got to play the Steelers, which he never plays well against them.
Okay, so
and everybody has their kryptonite.
But there's one of your moments.
There's the storyline.
Okay,
the team you never play well against, you come out there, throw 3 touchdowns, rush for 1.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? There's
the Texans. Texans are a tough team on Christmas Day.
Okay, there you go. Christmas,
and
another
then the Browns,
Christmas
another divisional, tough divisional game.
So there's 2 games there, Rob.
Yeah,
G.
if you were going to make that point, his next 2 games are marquee games.
There you go, and that's what
and that's working actually against Josh Allen because his previous 2 games were marquee games.
Right.
Yesterday against Detroit. The week before they had the primetime 125 against.
That's
the
what I'm
Rams.
saying.
And the Bills. The Patriots.
They got Patriots, Jets, Patriots,
and then that.
So he doesn't have the same.
The only thing he can do is just put up the numbers, right? But he won't have moments.
He'd have to. But basically, though, I think he'd have to lose it though.
Yeah,
right.
For that.
He would have to lose 2 of those 3 games.
He could lose it. Like say he plays poorly in the game, or throws 2 picks, or loses the game. And this is what I'm saying is Lamar has 2 games to change people's minds at the end and how people look at you.
But
you
that
know
means if Josh wins, he'll be 14-3. He'll be 14-3.
Okay.